Yeah.
We're live.
That's pretty funny, though.
The Lakers, they. I mean, you and I both didn't think they were going to win the series, right?
No. I thought they had a chance, but I didn't. I know Ant's the man, so I never doubted him.
I didn't think they were going to win because their defense was so bad they didn't have a center.
Yeah.
And, like, it was such a weird thing because now that they lost, there's a bunch of media people who are like, we never thought they were going to win. We always thought that this was a, like, next season thing. I was like, no, you didn't. You know what I mean?
y'all picked them.
Oh.
I mean,
If that's the case, then why did everybody pick them in 6 or whatever? The finals or the playoffs have been so fucking good, though.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, I say that in spite of
I've been really
the Heat.
Have you been watching games? I feel like you haven't been.
Some of them. I don't watch like Milwaukee and Indiana. I don't watch Orlando, Boston.
Yeah.
I don't really like a lot of the games I tune in like after halftime, the ones I want to watch, because you know it is playoff basketball. Doesn't really get going till like second half. So
Yeah.
I don't like it's not appointment TV.
Really
like I watch the Heat games, but what's that?
It really does depend on the series because some of them they're like from the tip, it's like god damn. Like I feel like Clippers of Nuggets have generally been like that. It's like fuck. Knicks Pistons as well. They're just like going hard as fuck, like slamming on the gas. Those teams aren't even that great either. You know what I mean? Like Knicks, I feel like Knicks and Pistons are both so flawed, but the fact that they're playing super tough, it's like when we were little. When I was younger, I mean, I would have like little my little like stepbrothers and like little cousins. They would all be like boxing in the backyard. I'd be watching it because I'm like, yo, these kids can't fight, but they're going hard though. You know what I mean? Like the Pistons and Knicks, they're not great basketball teams, but they just go so hard that it's like I have to respect it.
Yeah, the Knicks are always been tryhards, you know. So have the Pistons.
The Bucks Pacers, that series, I didn't watch all of it, but that last game was incredible. It was nuts.
Yeah, like after watching every Heat playoff game, which was gross, kind of was like need a little break, you know, because it's just like. Well, those last 2 games I turned them both off at halftime because it was apparent what was going to happen. But
last night when the Warriors got smoked, I was like, I don't need to watch it. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then I missed out. Like the backup. Well, like literally, they pulled the starters in like the third quarter. Like there were like 18 minutes left in the game, and Kerr's like, nah, we're not doing this. Like, I don't care. You go ahead, have that one.
Yeah.
They did it last year with the Grizzlies too. When the Grizzlies beat them by like 50 points, they were like, or not last year in 2022, but they were just like, well, we're up. We're up like 3-1 or whatever. Like, go ahead, get this game. We'll just beat you at home. Like,
yeah, there's no reason to get like your old guys more miles on their tread when they're like clearly not going to win. And
it's like not every game you can count on that kind of shooting that Houston was doing. It's unsustainable. So they were just like, whatever. Like, oh, you're making a lot of shots. This game's over. We're done. We're not playing. It's kind of dickish, but it's like super funny to me.
Yeah, but to that end, like that's why I don't watch a lot. I'll like tune in. I'll look at the score when I get home from something, or if I'm like doing something else. I'm like, oh, where's this game at? Is it worth checking in on? And I'm like, oh shit, you're starting to heat up. And, you know, and you look at it and you're like, oh damn, okay, well the Heat are down fucking 50, so.
I saw a nasty thing. I didn't see the video, but I saw Tobin report about it. Our guy Tobin. Mm-hmm. I saw a nasty thing where they were saying like Hero said that they needed Butler in the playoffs, and I was like, so I read the thing and I'm like, that's not even what he's saying at all. It's like a weird aggregate thing where I'm like, why would they like reading it? I'm like, because you know, if he said that for real, I'm like, that's spicy. I'm gonna go fucking tell Tony about this. But I read it and I was like, this is not even what he's saying. It was crazy that he had to then come out and be like, hey guys, that art, like all these headlines where it says I needed Jimmy Butler, like I didn't or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's goofy. I don't like that athletic reporter. He's goofy. That's what he said.
Is that Ira or something?
Yeah, someone Weiss, Jared Weiss.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's like, yeah, I don't like
Ira,
that
the
athletic
Ira
report.
Heat guy, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's Ira Winderman, and he's been there since the team's been around. So but they don't like him. Obviously, like every time he's like talking to players, you can see them just be like, oh, I gotta talk to this motherfucker. You can see the look on their face,
Mhm. I
but
don't
they do
think
it
this.
anyway. What's that?
Again, I don't think this helped.
Well, no, it's not him. That wasn't him. It was some other dude. It was Jared Weiss.
Oh, the Jared guy. I thought you meant they were talking about the Jared guy like that.
No, they're talking about Ira Winderman. They don't like Ira Winderman, but that's just he's been there forever. He's just like he's part of the deal, you know. He's like he's like their Rich, you know, Rich Johnston. Like I don't want to talk to this motherfucker.
I watched a Hoop Collective with Windhorst, Tim McMahon, and they had on Dave McMiniman, who's like, you know, fucking LeBron James's Baghdad Bob. He was just like he was crying so hard about how unfairly LeBron was being treated and how like actually it was a pretty good, you know, the Lakers were having a pretty good series, and like Windy and Tim McMahon are like, what are you talking about? Like he was saying, like the guy is super pro JJ, and like saying that it was actually not a bad idea to play the guys like the entire second half, which has never been done before, as you know.
Yeah, Tibbs hasn't even done that. Like that's not even. It's not a good idea.
You were saying it before we started the call, but you were saying that like JJ told some sideline reporter, like, yeah, I'm not going to play Jackson Hayes. It's like they're showing them your hand, and there's like doing something so preposterous that nobody's ever done it before. And then there are people who are just like company men for teams that they cover that are just like, oh wow, like it's such a like a galaxy brain move. It reminds me of my boy David Lombardi, who covers the Niners, where he does like access journalism, but like access coverage, where he doesn't even get access. That's the other crazy. Like if he were to be getting all these, you know, interviews with like the big Niner players, I'm like, oh well, you know, but he doesn't even get that. It's so crazy to me.
He's wish casting the influence of
the. He's just excited to be like, he's just excited to be what like led into like the boiler room where the Niners like the field staff like, oh, you could report in here next to the big sign of like Joe Montana. He's like, oh wow, that's so neat. And like, you know, but
I'd be the same way actually. I'm not gonna shit on the guy. I'm like, oh my god, what do you want me to say about the team? Sure, I'll be your Baghdad Bob. I don't care. Like,
not me, dude. I would. There's two kinds of like media reporters, and the Niners have like the two versions of the extremes where they have like Lombardi, where every choice the Niners make is right, like their draft coverage, like everything that every pick they made was like a fucking genius, you know, pick that like nobody would have made except for the Niners because they're the best, you know. And then there's Grant Cohn, who's the opposite, which is like, I hate everything they're doing. Everything they're doing is bad, and it's all going to lead them to ruin. And unless they win a Super Bowl, I'm right, you know? And Lombardi always makes sure to point out that, like, well, not every team wins a Super Bowl. So, like, you know, there's not every season is a failure just because you don't win the Super Bowl, which is, you know, there's definitely truth to that. But, like, determining a team's success is like more than just about holding the trophy. It's like relative to how you go into the season and the expectations that you set, right? In any like
exactly.
these.
Yeah.
So like when the Niners, like the last 3 years, didn't win a Super Bowl, it's like, well, that's a failure because they went all in. Yeah. But if there's a team that's like rebuilding or that's just at the start of it, like say the Houston Texans like 2 years ago, when they're like on a run and they're like a new team, them losing is not a failure. The same way with like the Warriors this year, I don't think them losing in the first round would be a failure. because they're
Yeah,
up 3-1 right now.
yeah.
But losing the second round, not really a failure, because that's not the expectation, is to win a championship this year.
Especially if you
nice.
play the Timberwolves or a better team. Like if you lost in the second round to like a worse team like the Lakers, then yeah, it would be a disappointment.
Right. Yes. What's up, Tony? I mean, Abe.
Look at this motherfucker Ramon looking like a hair gel commercial, dude. That's crazy.
Bro, there ain't nothing in there.
Bro, you look like when I used to work at a Great Clips and there was a book that you could like pick your haircut out of. You look like one of them pit trips.
My hair looked that good?
Yeah, dude. Killing
it. It was literally like I went for a walk earlier, so like, you know, it gets sweaty and then it just gets dry. So I put a little bit of water in it, but it's like pretty dry still.
Old Supercuts Jones over here.
That's tight.
That's what's up.
How you
I went to go work at Starbucks, you know, like draw over there today.
Nice.
And I was working on some pages. I'm like inking. I've been inking like really hard the last, I don't know, fucking week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't. But I was over there working for like, you know, like 5-6 hours. I left at like 6:30 in the morning to go work at Starbucks.
Wow.
Because they're gonna be open, and I was awake. So, but I was drawing over there, and I love doing that because you'll always get people that will like look at what you're doing, and like, you know, they'll kind of like look, and you could tell like, oh, they want to like say something to me, but I have my headphones on. But I don't want to be presumptuous and take out my headphone to be like, what's that? You know?
Oh.
Yeah. Because then if they don't want to say anything to me, then they're like, now they're in a weird position.
You're like, yes. And like, are you using that chair?
Today, though, there was a disproportionately high amount of people came up to me and like, you know, I'm like, oh my God, that's so sick. You know, it looks awesome. It's wonderful drawing. Oh, thanks.
That's tight.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
What do you guys get up to today?
I took Dory on a bunch of nice walks because it was beautiful today. So I was trying to get out and enjoy it while I could. And then I worked for a little bit and just waiting on approval for a thumbnail on the cover. So I'm just kind of like doodling designs for something else while I'm waiting. You know how it is. It's like,
yeah, I'm in the same boat right now. Yeah, it was like 80 here today. So my wife and I went to that spot where I took Tony and David to get ice cream when you guys were here.
I thought that was our spot. You taking your wife there?
Don't tell her I took you there because that's where she and I have been going. But had this like really good like sundae. It was like a baklava Arabic coffee sundae thing. So we went and got one of those. And just been working, did a little cover sketch. And that's what's up.
Love baklava.
Yeah, dude.
Our culture shares so much, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of like, it was more themed than it actually tasted like it, but it was still good.
Yeah. It's the spirit of it.
I've never had it. I feel like
I wonder. I think you'd probably like it.
I think I would. I know what it is. It's like nuts, right? With some sort of like.
It's like layers of pastry,
cinnamon?
like phyllo dough.
Yeah.
Like pistachio and nutmeg and cardamom. And
I was gonna say cardamom, but I'm like, I don't think that's a thing. That's why I said cinnamon. It's like similar, right? It sounds fucking delicious, and you know I don't say that about a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
especially
really fucking
things
good.
That are foreign to me.
Yeah. Sometimes they use rose water in it to kind of give it like a little extra flavoring. It's the shit. I gotta grab something real quick.
Yum.
Cardi B, remember her?
Yeah, I saw she was flaming what's his face for his album getting delayed.
Who?
Her ex. I guess her ex was supposed to put out. But yeah, I was supposed to put out an album, and she was like making fun of him because he got
Did you hear this on Ebro?
Yeah, I was on Ebro, of course.
Of course. My number one stop for hip hop news.
Yep.
I remember before the election, like we were both like listening to that, and that was like a nasty bellwether for like Trump gaining ground with like Black and Latino communities, and we were like, oh
God. Yeah,
because they were like, oh God, you guys are stupid as fuck.
Yeah, they're trying to tell these people and they wouldn't listen.
It's a weird thing where like the DJs that were like Charlemagne and like Ebro and these people that are like, you know, the media figures who have like who used to have a direct access to the audiences and stuff, like they would be like, yeah, like we don't like Trump, you know, don't vote for Trump, blah blah blah. Like I don't even think they were like even like shy about it. I feel like they were all just like blatantly like fuck Trump or whatever. But like there are so many like just weird rappers who are just like pro Trump that it like nullified any of that. I mean, that's not of that audience of like young people who would like, you know, be into that kind of stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's so strange. And like, you know, then there's like the streamers, which is like a whole other can of worms, but the destruction of like actual like mainstream media is so fucked. Because then all you just got is all these people who are like just craven and soulless and doing anything for like, you know.
Yeah, for clout,
like,
attention.
Right.
They don't give a fuck about the truth or giving like an objective analysis of the situation. They're just caping for somebody because it's financially, you know, in their best interest for whatever reason.
Just like those reporters for our teams.
Yep. Just like Ira Winderman. That shill.
Ibrahim, did you say you were going to be right back? Or
I already did it.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see. I was just checking. Well, now that we're all here, hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the New Cool Meat podcast. We're on episode 24. This is what an exciting, you know, we're like almost to 25. That's a better number. It's just like, you know, a quarter of 100. This is the #1 podcast where we don't talk about comics or politics. You know, this is strictly content, strictly, you know, we're doing manosphere stuff. You know, talk about sports, dude stuff.
Sometimes we talk about politics, though.
That's so true. I'm Ramon Villalobos, and I'm here as always with Tony Gregori.
Yo, R.I.P. Jackson Geis.
Jackson Geis died?
Yeah.
No, R.I.P. I you know, when you said Jackson, my heart skipped a beat because I thought you were going to say Brown. I was like, no.
No.
Respect to Jackson Geis. And, of course, Ibrahim Mustafa.
But, yeah, big R.I.P. to Butch Geis for sure.
Butch Geis?
Major, yeah. Jackson Butch Geis.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. My bad.
Yeah. No, it's all good. That's why I said it different from Tony in case anyone didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess he had health problems. I read huge presence in comics. Like when I was starting to read them.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange stuff was crazy.
Yeah, he did a bunch of stuff with Brubaker that I loved back in the day. That what's the team that had like Captain America, the Human Torch, not Johnny Storm, but the first one. The Invaders or something, or
what is it?
Was it the Invaders? Or...
That sounds right.
Yeah, they did a mini series that I loved. I think he was the one who drew the fucking what's his name, Bucky coming back as Winter Soldier. Didn't he draw the Winter Soldier stuff?
I'm not sure.
Was that
did Velvet?
I thought that was what's his face.
I know he worked on some Winter Soldier stuff. I just can't remember if it was the actual like relaunch of it or if it was like a solo series or something they did.
I remember from his X-Men, X Factor stuff and that Doctor Strange stuff.
Keegan Ray says he inked it.
That's what's up.
Keegan Ray says he inked it, and Doug confirmed it's the Invaders. Shout out to the chat. Thanks for joining us, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for the help.
I think he would have penciled and inked it. I don't think he was just an inker. Because I know my friend Stefano Gaudiano used to ink him on stuff. In fact, I should hit up Stefano, see how he's doing with it. But yeah, a major player in Marvel stuff for years. He did a bunch of DC stuff too. I think he was involved in some of the like Return of Superman timeline stuff, and
yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, he touched it all. 61 or something. Seems a little young.
63, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to his family. R.I.P. to the legend.
Yeah, you know, I'm not super familiar with him. Oh, he did ink Steve Epting, Ibrahim.
Steve Epting, that's right. Steve Epting drew that. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked up a picture. A pretty sweet original. So I'll screen share it. Oh my god. Or I would if this thing was so fucking stupid.
I think Reber was coloring him on something, wasn't he? Like one of those AWA things.
Oh, was he?
I think he was. Or maybe it was Epting and Geis. I can't remember.
Look how sweet this is.
Oh yeah. It's great.
Love how bold it is.
Yeah. Yep. And the shield really pops.
Yeah, it's like a good mix of like old school techniques with like, you know, this washes and stuff. Legend. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Well, what was I going to say? I don't know. Man, speaking of comics news, that stuff about the Diamond sale is so crazy.
Yeah, what's the latest? Last time was when I heard about it was when I was talking to you guys about it, and they
I think that was the last I'd heard about it too.
Last.
Is what you shared with us.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, because I had heard that, like, it was funny because when you told us that, I had heard that the sale had fallen through, but I didn't know that was why.
Yeah, that the news that it fell through came out, and then very shortly thereafter, because the news was like nobody knows why, and then it seemed like they were kind of like, "Oh, we'll tell you why." Yeah, for those who don't know, I can't remember the company, Alliance or something, was going to buy out Diamond and like I think their debts and their accounts and stuff. And one of the big reasons they were going to buy it is because they had an account with Wizards of the Coast, who does Magic Gathering, among other things. But that's like their notable
business,
thing.
Though.
Yeah, and
I'm assuming everybody who's watching this kind of knows comics, but like, you go to a comic shop, most of the comic shop's business is gaming if they do gaming.
Yeah. That's a lot of even like video game shops right now. A lot of them are shifting to doing Pokemon cards because that's just huge right now. And some of them are even like they're not even doing video games as much anymore just because like Pokemon's so big. I think a lot of it is speculator type of shit and flippers trying to, you know, but I mean it doesn't change the fact that it's selling. But yeah, so basically Diamond did not disclose that they no longer have the contract with Wizards of the Coast. And so I think the company is actually suing them now for that, for like the cover up on
fraud,
that.
Attempted fraud.
Yeah, I believe that was the charge. Just seems crazy. Like such a Diamond thing to do, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's the most Diamond thing. It's like even as they're going out, they have to be the most Diamond way to go out. Like since I've been reading comics, going to comic shops, like Diamond was, up until like a few years ago, they were the preeminent like force in the distribution and everything, and they had basically held a monopoly. But it was sort of like this weird thing where it's like, yeah, this weird scumbag owns a company that has the monopoly over this thing, and like at any minute he could just fuck up everything, and everybody knew it. It was like so unsustainable. And then like eventually, once people got out of that, like all the major publishers and stuff, then it was just like like how are they going to survive? And everybody kind of knew like, well, they probably won't,
Yeah.
like not this way. And then just lying about accounts that you have is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Remember when you discovered that Steve Jeppy was a reply guy and he would just reply to like all these hot women online?
Yeah. Great
his
boobs.
whole feed was like, it's comment on their
epic boobs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I saved those screenshots. That was like a computer or a phone ago,
Yeah.
But it was just like he was just constantly talking to women. I was searching up all of his replies and everything that day. I was like so in the zone of like, oh, he did this once, he must have done it more than that, So then I just like found dozens and dozens of him just being a fucking weird creep to like baseball girls, and like it was such a weirdo.
Yeah.
And like all the pictures of him with his family, or just like knowing that like when he's not with his family, he's just doing that kind of shit and trying to like ruin our industry. It's so funny. Yeah. He's like moving like a Tony Soprano's like B character.
He's at his like grandchild's christening going, nice rack in the pews.
Going out doing what he loved, being a scumbag.
Man, they're such fucking creeps, dude.
Jesus. It's the worst.
Have you, Ibrahim, you're not on Twitter, you're on Blue Sky, and I don't know how much you've been on it lately. I feel like my social media use has been like pretty low, unless sports are on, in which case I'm locked in. But this week there was the inescapable meme going around of like, could 100 men beat up one gorilla?
Oh God!
Have you seen that or no?
No,
dude. When I mean like it's huge, it's like it was everywhere.
I remember that being definitely the type of shit we've talked about.
Yeah. Well, like that's what I thought too. I thought like this seems like such a fucking me question. The way the guy phrased it was super funny, and I understand why it went viral. But my old question used to be like, how many babies could you fight, like, or just like, basically destroy until you were like, you couldn't go anymore? And I thought like people would say like an infinite amount. And I'm like, I gotta be honest, it's probably less, just because you're going to get tired. If they're crawling towards you, Dynasty Warriors style, there is no like, like at some point you're going to get overtaken. You're going to start slipping over baby parts. It's like, it's not going to go smooth.
An infinite amount of infants is not happening.
Yeah, they would just swarm you eventually. You would get, by the weight of them, it would just...
You just be choking on like diapers full of baby shit oozing out into your airway and stuff. You're just being smothered by that like yellow ochre colored.
This is barehanded. You don't have a sickle or a sword or a hammer or nothing. You're just,
I like the idea of
small hand combat.
I like the idea of a bunch of babies just absolutely decimating a person. I think that's funny.
But the gorilla thing, I was talking to Tony about how fun it would be to like think of the ultimate, because everybody's like, oh, the gorilla would destroy everybody, and I feel like it wouldn't. I feel like humans would have a good shot as long as like you pick the right humans, Yeah,
you gotta have strategy. You gotta have a strong draft. You gotta have a plan that you stick to.
The tweet that went viral was for Dream Chasing Mike, and he said, I think 100 N-words could beat one gorilla. Everybody just gotta be dedicated to the shit. 2 laughing emojis. Like one of those like chill tweets, but it got like 309,000 views, you know, like on this thing. Probably way more than that now. Oh no, this is for the quote retweet, but you know, yeah. So like, I was gonna tell Tony, I was gonna say like we should draft 100 of these, like 100 people, like in an ideal draft. Like, who would you pick? I don't know.
Put some thought into this today.
Oh, you do?
I have some ideas. I mean, nothing didn't go too deep. You know, just as I'm walking around, I thought of some angles.
So wait, just to talk about it. How, like, do you think 100 men could beat one gorilla?
100 men with the right plan, with the right strategy, could defeat one gorilla.
What about you, Ibrahim?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think all those men are coming out alive or uninjured, maybe, but like they're taking some, you know, there's going to be a casualty or two for sure, like before you really get that gorilla down. But it would also have to be like, it couldn't be like a martial arts movie where it's like they attack one at a time or two at a time. Like it would have to be like everybody's on that gorilla.
Dynasty Warrior style.
Yeah. My
thing is, like, people say like there's no way, and it's like that just shows how far civilization has weakened, man. That we like, because in the old times we had to fight gorillas, you know, and we did it, and we won.
Yeah, but we were allowed to use weapons, so people use clubs and rocks and stuff. This is completely barehanded. There's no.
We built pyramids.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Me and Ibrahim built pyramids.
Yeah. we built the Parthenon and the Colosseum. Yeah, I think.
Salt says, "Why are we sowing division between Homo sapiens and gorillas? Who benefits from dividing us?" Bro, like, this is just like people talking about, you know, being real motherfuckers. Keegan Ray says it's like a sport. That's right. Like it's all about the thrill of the battle. It's all about just proving that you got that dog in you. That's why I had said, like, I saw the Niners draft 11 guys this weekend, and I got those 11 guys taking on the gorilla. They got because we got dogs, you know.
Yeah, dude. Kenneth Grant could definitely square up that gorilla 1v1 in the trenches. My guy, Kenneth Grant.
We only talked about day one of the draft last week, huh? We didn't even get into it.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, you're going further into the draft, eyes start to go in the back of their head. So
no, but like last week when we had the conversation, I think like we had drafted one defensive lineman. We had got like several more since then. That's why I'm saying, like, if you give me a bunch of NFL linemen, I only need like 10, 15.
No, yeah, and a good coach.
To beat a gorilla.
You gotta have a plan, you know, like like, and that's to that end. I have some ideas, like some thoughts.
These dudes are pushing fucking. These dudes are pushing mass around, you know.
The Miami Dolphins, the first
rookie class, were fucking up that gorilla.
My Dolphins rookie class, the first 3 picks, the combined weight is 1,000 pounds. We're 3 of those dudes together. Yeah, 1,000 pounds of man meat. Come on.
You telling me you put Trent Williams across from that gorilla, and Trent Williams is not coming out the victor? I'm saying you're tripping.
Zach Seiler. They put Zach Seiler across from that gorilla. You spin moving him and getting him from behind. German suplex his ass. It's over.
So that whole meme, it's like, you know, it's funny, it's cute, but it's like 100 people. You don't need 100 people. You just need like 10 or 15, like real good people. I was saying,
give me 100. I'll watch that. We can watch that gorilla in 10 minutes if you give me 100 people. Like,
let's not even do the draft. Just give me your.
Okay.
Give me your thoughts.
So first off, you got to have some grunts, some expendables, some people you just throw at the problem, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna like just 3 off the top of my head. People that are completely expendable that we can throw at the gorilla is Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Ethan Klein.
I don't even think Donald Trump, by the way, like, is he even like?
He's like 6'3". He's got some size, right? You can just kind of.
I feel like if a gorilla smacks him, he's like disintegrating into like just the softest flesh, sort of like he's like a balloon of softness, dude. There's nothing there's not even a little bit of resistance when a gorilla smacks the shit out of him. Like that's not even. And
well,
you know
I mean, his expendables. I mean, he's got to be. We got 100 guys. We're talking 100 guys, right? I'm not talking about too many. So
I was gonna say, but like I get it though, because that's just like at this point, it's not even about. It's not even about like, are we destroying this gorilla? You're just throwing in some people for no reason,
just to take up the gorilla's attention to do something else while other people are kind of doing things. And that's only 3 guys. I'm sure we can find.
Is that you put Elon Musk in there, the morale is going down. So like, because like then you're basically saying like, okay, guys, we're gonna go fight a gorilla, but before we go, you have to listen to Elon Musk talk. I don't want to.
Well, here's the deal. In this situation, there's a coach, and everyone has to listen to the coach and follow the plan. You know, like we're in it to win it. Otherwise, they're off the team, and I'm just bringing in some other fucking guy.
But then you're drafting 3 of people who would never follow that rule. It's like, see, I'm with you. I like the intention, and I also had a pick like that. I was like saying, like, throw Joe Rogan in there. He's short, he's tiny, but he's a feisty little guy, and he thinks he could fight a gorilla. So then you throw him out first, and like he'll try to kick the gorilla, and the gorilla will like cave his fucking head in. You know what I mean? But I'm with you. Like I like the mentality, but like I think
I'll tell Ethan that the gorilla is pro-Palestine, and then he will.
Ethan says he's pro-Palestine.
Oh yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I should. Well, you know, I'm just thinking in that sense of those like expendable people that if they were to get taken out by a gorilla, that it wouldn't be a great loss, you know, and enough of them. I'm sure we could find another 30 guys that fit that frame.
I'm on my Doge shit where I'm more about efficiency. I don't want to bring out that many people. It seems like the more people, like it's like we were talking about the other day about the weakest link theory. We talked about this.
The weakest link.
The weakest link theory, which is in the NBA now. It's not like it's like moving like soccer where because of the new CBA, you don't want a team with like really, really great talent and then like a few weak points. You want a team with like the highest level talent with the least amount of weak points. That's why like the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Thunder are so great, which is that, you know, all their players benefit by not being around any weak links that can be exposed. So like the Lakers have some really great talent, but they have so many weak links that they just got dominated, right? My beloved Warriors, they're a good team. They have like high-end talent, but they have weak links that are being exploited every game. And so, you know, the theory goes that like whereas before you would have a Warriors team with like 3 or 4 really, really great players and like a couple guys who stink. Now you can't have those guys because that's what the league is going to exploit, you know? So like in this conversation, it's like I want to bring in just real murderers, bro, just real killers.
Well, they're coming. They're coming. But these are the expendables, man. These are like the first wave. These are the people that I'm like just being like, hey, gorilla, look at these 3 manic people, motherfuckers. Look at their energy. And yeah, I know the gorilla is gonna look at Ethan Klein and be confused by what that is. You know,
that's light work though, dude.
And then I'll have like.
You. And listen,
and then you know another guy.
The chat agrees with you. The chat says just do it. So
yeah. You know, and the killers are coming. I got killers. You know, but that to me is like the first wave.
So that's wave 1 is just annoying people.
Playing 40 chess, you gotta let your pawns out. You know what I mean?
Ibrahim gets it.
Salt says, Ramon, you're being stingy. No, I'm being a ruthlessly efficient. I want to take down the gorillas. I want to say, damn, it only took like 11 people. I'm a humanist. Like, damn, Ramon got that job done with like so few people. He didn't even.
Tell you what, if we can take out that gorilla in 30 minutes, but also get rid of those 3 motherfuckers at the same time.
I mean, I hear you, but if I had the ability to make them fight a gorilla, I could like also make them go somewhere else. I can make them fight a volcano if I wanted to. If this is how in control I am of the world.
I'm yes-anding that. Yeah, let's do that.
So, anyways, so that's wave 1 is the annoying people.
Annoying people, and it's just not 3. There could be like 30 of them, you know.
Sure.
And then for like round 2, I'm gonna have a bunch of fast guys that are also semi-expendable, like Tyreek Hill.
I was gonna say Tyreek. He was Tyreek. On my list because it's like, why not?
Why not? Run at him. You know, he's not gonna be able to catch him. He's got good quickness. He's lost a step. He's got good shuttle still, good cone.
At first, I was gonna say like Usain Bolt, and then I thought, well, he's slow now. He doesn't even. And I was gonna say, who's that guy? Noah Lyles. It's like, send him in there. He's so fast.
Yeah.
But like, is he too fast?
Might be. And also, like, is he not a killer? A dog. And we know Tyreek Hill loves violence because he beats up.
I wanted
family.
I Show Speed on that crew, except
I was thinking him, but he seems like a nice guy.
Is he too precious?
Yeah. Yeah, that might be the case.
Okay, so
who is Speed? What does he do? Like I know he's a streamer, but did he do something before that, or is that just his only thing?
I like Speed because he just would like stream video games and stuff, right? Okay. But then it turned out he was like a monster athlete. So he would just
because that's what I've seen him like boxing and stuff.
Yeah, he just does flips. But like recently he went to China and he hung out with like monks. Like,
I saw that.
And so like, the Chinese fell in love with him, but he was just like there was a when I first saw him on like stuff, he would be like an annoying kid who was just like screaming at the camera, saying edgy jokes that were not funny, And like I think he went real viral for like setting off fireworks in his room on stream.
Oh wow.
And like a lot of fireworks. And like it was like super dangerous, but he has evolved into being like a pretty kind guy who's like at least intellectually curious about the world and not just like, a little shithead, which I think is good,
Yeah. Yeah. I love
he's a good role model for young people.
Yeah. He might be too precious. I mean, there's a bunch of guys I'm sure we could find who are fast and athletic who we don't give a shit if they get their head caved in by a gorilla. And they're not all going to be scumbags too, Like
that's what I'm saying. Like if I'm throwing my Niners in there, I'm expecting them to win, so I don't really care about expendability.
Well, I mean, like I got a closer, and my closer is somebody who I want to protect. So
that's not your closer can't be the next wave though, because that's
no.
Waves.
I said I got a closer. I didn't say that. No,
right.
No, next wave, I need some like grapplers. I need some guys, some hand-to-hand guys, some guys who are not afraid to ground and pound. I want Chael Sonnen because he's a piece of shit. I want Conor McGregor.
Conor's not a grappler.
No, but I want him fight because he's a fighter. He's crazy. He'll go in there.
You said you want grapplers, and he's not one.
Well, I want fighters. I want assassins. I want killers. I want strikers. I want all that. I'm not just saying just grapplers.
But this is where fighters. I would have my linemen in there. This is where I'm throwing in offensive linemen because they're moving weight, dude.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Richie Incognito. I throw him in there. Like, I know he'd get very mad at a gorilla. I think Trent Williams. Well, no, he's too nice. He's a nice guy. I won't say that.
Trent's choking dudes. Trent is ready for war. But that's why I'm saying he's not losing. You see Trent fight gorilla. Pray for the gorilla.
You know who I'm sending in?
Who's that?
Dwayne Johnson, the Brahma Bull.
Dude, that's a great one.
Let him earn. He gets to stay if he beats that thing. You get to keep making movies, Dwayne. But go change the hierarchy of the fucking gorilla's life, and if you win, you stay around. If not, we don't have to see you anymore.
I'm throwing. You know what? And I'm throwing in like a literal Expendables wave. They're getting him, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's just for our entertainment.
Randy Couture.
They're mostly gonna die.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Jean-Claude Van Damme's in there. He's probably gonna get his head caved in too.
Jet Li.
But it will inspire the.
No, I like Jet Li and Van Damme can stay, but I like the rest.
Yeah.
You guys are too fatalist. You think they're all going to lose? I think they're going to not all.
Some of them. No, they're not all going to die. But we can't really just figure out who's going to survive because the gorilla is. You got to respect your opponent. He's definitely.
Yeah, let's send in Joe Rogan. He's a fucking. He thinks he's a fighter. He's a.
Yeah. He's you were gone, but I said I would send him in first.
Okay, yeah. He had that like. Remember, he had that like gorilla-headed like kettlebell that he was peddling for a long time. Like, this is all you, dude. Get in there.
Yeah. Oh, you know who's a good one? Kane. He's a piece of shit. He's big. The gorilla would look at Kane and be like, "Oh my god, this guy's huge," and might get a little intimidated for a second because they just look at the size of the guy, and then before they realize he's a bitch,
Yeah, these waves get like for me would get progressively bigger, so that as the gorilla's fighting, he's like, "Damn," he's starting to like he's starting to be like, oh my god, like this is just this, like obviously it's not thinking anything, but it's just like as it's attacking, it's like they're just getting bigger and I'm getting smaller. So that in the gorilla's mind, there could be endless size humans coming out after him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
'cause he doesn't
gorilla,
have
I'm
object
fucking it
permanence
up
like that.
mentally, not just physically.
I see the vision. Psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. You gotta intimidate him, psych him out.
That's why, like, at this point, like, you know, I'm throwing in Tom Aspinall, the UFC heavyweight champion. Like, he's coming in hard. You know, I'm throwing out there Usyk, the boxer. He's coming in hard. What's
Canelo?
his face? What's that?
Canelo?
He's not tall.
No, but he can like body
Heavyweight.
shots. You know what?
I'm
the
talking
gorilla's
about
going like here.
heavyweights.
And just
Yeah, I said it's getting progressively bigger. I want big motherfuckers. This is big motherfucker time.
no, I thought he was big in
Francis
spirit.
Ngannou. Francis Ngannou sees this motherfucker. Gorilla's like, God damn, this motherfucker gonna knock my fucking head off. Doug says Joe Rogan, LOL. And Joe's tiny, so he's the first one out, and the gorilla's like laughing. You know,
Jamie, you ever see 100 guys beat up a gorilla? Pull that clip.
it's Joe Rogan after he, you know, they reconstruct his like fucking spine, and he's just like,
he's in traction.
Gorillas are nasty. You go on this whole fucking thing about gorillas, and you ever see a gorilla rip a watermelon in half or some shit?
So wait, who's your closer, Tony?
So my closer is Samoa Joe. Because he's got the best sleeper in the game, like we saw the other night when he choked out John Moxley.
You do know he's not a real fighter, though, yeah? Just,
it's real to me, damn it. It's real to me, damn it.
You know he can't actually choke out the gorilla.
Like, it's real to me, damn it.
I'm thinking about this, like, I want
he chose
like,
kayfabe,
legit murderers on my squad, bro. I mean, Samoa Joe will be there. But, like, I'm not saying he's not going to choke out the gorilla.
Yeah, he will. He's going to choke out John Moxley in 2 weeks at a beach break. Just watch.
Couldn't even get his arms around the gorilla. Gorilla's necks are huge. I also thought, like, what's that big motherfucker's name? Steven Adams from the Houston Rockets. I always remember that guy. Big motherfucker.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah, you could throw Wemby at the gorilla. He'd be so confused about what is this fucking thing. He just.
What is it? Zach Edey. Zach Edey's nothing, but again, the gorilla would just be like, damn, this dude's huge. Because gorillas aren't like that tall, you know?
No, they're like, what, 5-6 feet, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think if the gorilla saw Wemby, it would like clean out its teeth with his bones.
Let me look up how tall a gorilla is.
Yeah, what is the tallest gorilla? Jamie, look that up.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, how tall do you think gorillas are? Like, on all fours?
On all fours? I'm going to guess like 4 feet on all fours.
Yeah, 4 feet, no? 4 inches.
So, for real?
Yeah.
Look at silverback gorillas are 6 feet 5 inches.
Oh, no, my bad. That's a Western gorilla. Yeah, I didn't specify.
Well, at least it hunched over, not standing up straight, you know?
But still, though, you would think, like, they'd be
arm
bigger
span
than
of
that, you know?
8 feet, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. Those long ass arms.
But, I mean, okay, so gorillas reach heights between 4 feet and 6 feet, basically. With arm spans up to 8 feet 6 inches and weights between 220 and 600 pounds.
So you'd say average height for a gorilla is like 5'8"?
It's average height, dude.
But this is what I'm saying, though. Like, I don't like, that's not that heavy when you consider, like, I'm putting out dogs. You
figure like a lot. I'd say probably 2/3 of that weight is like from the waist up, though.
It's pure muscle.
Yeah, and oh man, dude. I mean, pound for pound, like.
Yeah, if you send 100 guys at a gorilla, I guarantee like 40 of them are going to die, at least. But you will win.
Hey, look at this guy though. Hang on.
See it.
He said, "What'd you say about me?" You might have to give me permission to present, Ramon.
Oh yeah.
What'd you say about me? Why I wanna?
That's a bad motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
Look up hairless gorilla so you can see this muscle definition, its tone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Damn, dude.
See, those first ones are obviously chimps.
Yeah.
That's how. Like when I saw that, I said, "Damn, chimps are strong as hell." But like, look at these dudes.
If you had to fight a gorilla on steroids, would you win? Damn,
wait,
dude.
am I on steroids or the gorilla on steroids?
I think. Question. Holy shit, is this real? No, that looks photoshopped.
The gorilla's fraudulent.
I think either way, dude. I might. No,
yeah, I don't think the steroids is helping me.
Look at this guy.
I was actually going to say, like, what if we did the same exercise but with comics people? Like, obviously, top picks are like Danny P, my boy Dan Panosian. I'm thinking we're throwing out. What's that dude who does judo?
Mike Diodato.
Diodato.
The tracer.
Yeah, Diodato.
He's up there throwing kicks.
I think he does
200 of us,
karate.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely need more than 100.
It might take more than 100 if it's just comic artists. If we're talking about pure athletes,
that's
Yeah.
I think we'd all get demolished. I don't think.
Not just artists though, writers too.
No, writers are even worse. Artists are definitely. If you had the artists versus writers fight, the artists are winning 100 times.
You think so?
Yeah, they got the
no
physical
question,
thing.
dude.
Yeah, writers.
No question.
Writers, I feel like they beat themselves.
Yeah, beat themselves up online all day.
We just like do nothing and win for the artists in that fight against. Like, yeah, people always talk about writers versus artists in comics. Like the thing is, like, if we were to actually do battle, they would.
Yeah, we're not having the right conversation about that, are we?
It's not like who contributes more. It's like no. I will fuck you up. There's never been a writer that I've worked with that I haven't thought I could destroy him physically. Or her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
Ben Percy is a big guy. I've seen pictures of him, and he looks pretty yoked. He might be the only one.
He's the one.
Of what? Oh, of writers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying. You know what? I was thinking like there was a comic writer who I knew that was taking boxing lessons, but he was doing weird shit like just like fighting trees and stuff. It wasn't like real applicable skills. I don't remember who that was.
My boy David Crispino's a big guy. I wouldn't want to fuck with him.
Crispino?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's a big dude. I don't know if he's a gentle soul though.
Oh yeah, but he will fuck you up if he has to. Like he has it in him. I've seen him get angry.
I feel like though too, and if this is like if it's not just a fight, if it's a battle of like everything, right? I'm pulling some Hannibal Lecter shit. You know what I mean? I just rewatched Silence of the Lambs, so I'm real hyped on like Hannibal Lecter right now.
It's your guy. He's one of your guys.
I like him in that movie. It's a great performance, but it's like not even a top 3 performance in that movie for me. Mm-hmm. That's just how good that movie is. It's just a truly it's a great piece of art.
Obviously, you got Buffalo Bill's performance. The actor who plays
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster is great.
I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen Silence of the Lambs? Oh, it's on Tubi right now.
I've seen like a couple scenes from it, and I saw like Red Dragon, I think.
Yeah. So I had seen Red Dragon way before I ever saw Silence of the Lambs, and I'm like, I love this movie. That's what's his name.
Ray Fiennes as Hannibal Lecter.
No, it's still Anthony Hopkins. Ray Fiennes plays the Red Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Manhunter is the same story as Red Dragon, and in that one, the dad from Succession, I forget his name right now, Brian Cox. He plays Hannibal Lecter in that one.
Oh, okay.
That's a great movie.
Who else? How many are they the only two who played Hannibal Lecter? Oh no, what's his name from Casino Royale?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen, yeah.
He played it on the show.
Right.
And then they also had Hannibal Rising, which I never saw, which was like the origin story, like young Hannibal. But I never bothered watching it.
Like young Shelton? Just
young Shelton. I don't know if he got that young. I haven't seen it though, so maybe we should watch it. Got it. But yeah, I read those books too, like the Red Dragon. I love the Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs. Like as books, they're really great. Have you ever read them?
No.
I feel like Ibrahim, that's like such a thing that you would have at some point. Because it's like a series of like, you know.
Huh. Yeah.
Like detective series kind of thing.
I need like a good series to get into. So that could be one that I check out. Yeah.
I read Red Dragon in high school and I loved it. So, you know, caveat, I was in high school, but I remember it being like incredible. Sick movie too. That was even like the Manhunter one and the cheap cash grab with Colin Scott says the NBC show was way better than it had any right to, than it should have been. I agree. That was like a shockingly good show. And I like when I saw it, I was like, this looks so stupid. But as I got into it, I was like, God, this shit's sick.
Mm.
You guys want to do some news stories?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Let's see, where should we start with this one?
I'm gonna grab.
You know what? Let's do an influencer story.
Nice. A lot of influencers.
A Brazilian influencer is working to create a hot look. Instead, a Brazilian influencer looking to create a hot look instead wound up in a deep freeze. Inspired by other social media stars, 24-year-old Ravina Hanieli decided to do a photo shoot in icy conditions on the slopes of Sierra Nevada in the south of Spain. However, Hanieli admitted that she was hospitalized after her buttocks froze. You won't believe what I did, she said on her Instagram caption last week, along with snaps of her in a baby blue bikini, white toque, and running shoes. I went to do a bikini suit in the snow, super inspired by some foreign influencers, thinking it would be a fancy ordeal. But the result was kind of dramatic. I ended up in an emergency room with real pain in my bum because of the negative 10 degrees Celsius cold. She was not joking. Seriously, my butt was really froze. Has anyone ever else gotten themselves into an absurd situation just to get a perfect photo? Have you guys?
No. No. No.
Yesterday I went out. I had me old head day. I went around and
oh shit.
Yeah, I went and went to a couple video game stores, and I went to a comic shop and I actually bought this really dope series from this dude in Colorado. He consigned a bunch to the stores out here. It's about a guy. It's called Rufus Carl is One Bad Hombre, or That Rufus Carl. And like, look at this cover, dude. He's like a former hitman or something that runs like a food cart now. This one is clearly, you know, the Dark Knight tribute.
Yeah.
Pizza cutter coming at him, and then loading up bullets into a French fry thing. But yeah, dude, I was just like having this old head ass day, and like that was my mission, right? I was like, I'm gonna do old head shit. I'm gonna look at physical media. And I was driving up the street and I like interrupted a photo shoot of like some girls trying to stand in the middle of the road and her friend was trying to take her picture. And it was just such a funny punctuation point on me doing all this like pre-fucking, you know, social media phone type of shit. Like, but yeah, so I've interrupted it, but I've never done it myself.
Colin asks, what's the most absurd situation you've been in for a drawing, page, cover, etc. though?
That's a good question.
I got mine.
Yeah, me too.
When I would do cons, I would always share rooms with people. and like normal people go to bed during these cons, but I don't, because usually if I'm doing commissions, it just takes me forever. So I would like try to like not keep the light on because dudes are trying to sleep. So I would go into the bathroom sometimes, sit either on the floor or in the bathtub or something, or like crack the door open with the bathroom light on so I could like just kind of lay in the light with my board out. But it was always some situation like that where I'm like, the bathroom commissions were just not fun because it's not a very comfortable place to draw. You know, if I'm being honest.
No, not at all.
No, yeah.
I know I have some more. I'm gonna think about this, but that the first one that comes up in my head is thinking about sitting in a hotel bathtub drawing a commission. You got one,
That's
Ibrahim?
wild. Yeah, I used to work at a hotel and I did room service there, and I had this little office that I worked out of that was like kind of the size of like a walk-in closet. And there was this little room service table cart thing that was tucked behind the door. So you couldn't really see me when you walked by. And so I would sit at in this dark corner at this uncomfortable ass table trying to work on pages in between orders. Cause like, you know, I worked a swing shift. So like after a certain point, most of the managers go home. There's just the night, you know, the evening manager, and I was cool with them. So they were fine with me drawing as long as I got my work done. So yeah, I drew like probably half of High Crimes in there, just like fucking with all my pens and shit spread out. And yeah, it was another time during that same era, I went through a breakup and I moved out of the place that we shared, and I was staying with my friends for like a week until I had a spot open up somewhere. And so I was literally like drawing in their dining room. Like I had my whole computer set up in the dining room of their apartment, and I was like working on pages and shit. So yeah, a few different fucking weird places trying to get work done.
Yeah, I've had some weird places for like funny reasons and sad reasons. You know, like I was at home once taking care of my mom when she was sick, and I had to do the dining room thing. You know, where you had to like clear off space on the dining room table and do the work. But then when I first went back to art school and I was trying to draw, and this girl I was living with, it was a very small place, and she had to wake up early in the morning, so I didn't want to keep her up. So I'd just go into my car at night and just had a headlamp, and I would draw in my car, and like all night, just sit in my car listening to the radio, you know. And that was kind of sucked. It was like I wish I could be like at my desk in my apartment that's right in front of me, but I don't want to.
I have drawn in my car listening to the radio parked in front of like a Starbucks or something with like the Warriors game on and like with my board against the steering wheel and like my pens in like the cup holder. It's actually kind of elite. But you know, my thing is like I don't really have like a drafting table or anything like that. So like it's kind of easy for me to draw in weird places, you know. Like I've drawn on flights, like work, you know.
Yeah, I've drawn on a train before.
Yeah,
like
train seems hard because I feel like you'd
be like
hard. Shaky.
Yeah.
I took a cross country road trip from here to New York, and then I went down to Florida, and Florida back up to here, and I kept a journal, and I still have it, where I did like a comic journal of my entire trip, and I tried to draw on the thing, and I was like, fuck it. At some point, I'm like, this is just going to be messy and shitty, so I just leaned into it. And just
it was only good for penciling for me. Like I couldn't do any inking. I used to, or once I had to do, I got my first DC like sample page assignment right when my sister was having like a major spinal surgery. And so I was working on fucking sample pages in the hospital waiting area while she was having her surgery done. So that was another one. Yeah. I think we all have had to do a bunch of crazy shit to get work done.
Mm-hmm. That's why I would trust us to fight that gorilla.
Yeah.
Resourceful.
Wait, guys, what's the hardest place you've ever had to write?
my own mental headspace, honestly. Just dealing with these dark thoughts, just dealing with the self-doubt, honestly. So this is the woman. Colin says, so you can relate to this woman's commitment to the grind. This is exactly like me drawing in a bathtub at like 4 a.m. and then not wanting to
Totally.
wake somebody up. What I'm surprised is like I don't see any picture of her sitting in the snow. It's just her ass out. Skill issue.
Also, I hate that blacked out tattoo thing that everyone's doing. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Are those all cover-ups? Generally,
Yeah,
or?
people are doing now.
It's like some of it is cover up, but some people are just going straight to all black, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. It's a weird trend.
But yeah, it's like a weird trend where people are getting like big portions of their body just completely blacked out like that.
MGK did that to all his tattoos. He like covered his entire body with like black.
My thinking of that is like if you do that, like you've already made a regretful tattoo decision once. Like, what are you doing?
Compound it. Let's make it even worse. Yeah.
Anyways, this is her. This is what she's up to.
Shout out to her.
So she was
her
like,
ass was
"Oh,
thawed
let
out.
me do what all these other cool people are doing," and then did she get frostbite, or?
I would imagine. Luckily, the hospitals saved her.
You got to bleed for your art, you know.
She really loves Carnival.
Absolutely.
That's crazy
Okay,
work, dude.
so I think you'll like this one right here. A British man who paid more than $26,000 to replace his stolen car later discovered that he unknowingly bought his own vehicle back. Ewan Valentine, 36, from Solihull, England, said that he discovered February 28th. It isn't. Oh, 36. He said that his black 2016 Honda Civic Type R had been stolen from his overnight parking space. Valentine said he was distraught about the loss and hoped to replace the car with a nearly identical vehicle. Sure enough, I found one for sale. Same color, same year, same custom exhaust system, he wrote on social media. The license plate and VIN number were different from his stolen vehicle, so he didn't think too much about it. Until he had already paid more than $26,000 for the replacement ride. I started to notice some odd things when I got home. I noticed a tent peg and some Christmas tree pines in the boot. I noticed the locking wheel nut was in a Tesco sandwich bag. I noticed some wrappers in the central storage section, all oddly similar to my stolen car, he wrote. Valentine decided to check the car's onboard GPS and discovered it had previously been to his house, his parents' house, and even his partner's parents' house. A part of me felt sort of triumphant for a moment until I realized, actually, no, this isn't some heroic moment. You didn't go and get your car back. You actually have done something a bit stupid, he told the BBC. He took the vehicle to a Honda dealership where the technicians confirmed the VIN was a fake and the car was indeed the one that had been stolen from Valentine. The first Honda technician, he pulled the physical key out, put it straight in the door, and it unlocks it. And he's like, "Yes, it's your car," Valentine said. Valentine said that he does not believe the garage that sold him the car knew it was stolen. The police said the Honda garage all said this was one of the best clone jobs they'd ever seen. So if it wasn't for these little artifacts, no one would have ever known, he said. Isn't that crazy?
That's this fucking guy, dude. There's no way. Look, my car is like pretty bare bones, right? Like it's completely stock. I don't drive it a lot because I work from home, right? I've kept it like pretty much in the state I got it from. There's like nothing in it. I would know it was my own car. You know what I mean? Like just from little things, like when that little fucker, remember when you went like years ago when I was like, hey, what kind of shoe is this? Because some kid was jumping on my car and trying to identify the shoe print and stuff, like that, the dent that left, right? Like the fucking the scuffs on the inside driver's door from where I accidentally rub my shoe on it sometimes when I'm getting out. Like that's just not a man who pays attention to details, dude. If your own garbage is in your car and you like were like, hey, wait a second, that's crazy, man. That's crazy to me. Like, wow, this is just like mine. You guys, this is just like my car.
I feel like if you're him, and you are like, are you not like, well, can I get my money back? This is my car. You know what I mean?
At that point, I don't know if there's anything they can do if you like bought it from a third party who isn't the person who stole it, and like there's a bill of sale and everything. Like, but I mean, even when they clone or do a thing like they did with the VIN number, the VIN numbers show up in like 3 or 4 different spots, right? So yeah, the dash one is like the one that they'll probably do, but is also on the door jamb, and that one is easier to do too, but like it's also on the engine block of like every car. So I mean, not that he's going to get in there and those things are pretty packed in tight, but just like, dude, there's so many things that would like alert you. I mean, it would smell like your car probably.
Yeah. How do you get the smell out? You immediately know this is my stink,
right? Like everybody's vehicle has a specific smell to them, whether it's the cologne or perfume they wear, or the air freshener they like, or the fact that they've never used an air freshener in there, or whatever. I mean, there's so many different reasons. That's crazy, dude. It has the same like body kit on it, like this guy.
He just thought he bought a car from someone with good taste.
That's wild.
He's like, wow, these motherfuckers really know what good cars look like.
Like, wow, they got the same grill stuff that I use. They got everything. It's like the same stains in the center console, the same fucking.
I was trying to figure out what his shirt was. I wasn't sure if that was like a little comic book shirt. I don't think so.
You gotta look at stuff, dude. I mean, if I'm buying a car that isn't brand new, I'm looking inside every crevice of it. I'm going, okay, what's this here? Is there, like, did they clean it out? Is there a spare tire under the thing in the trunk? In the boot?
That's my car, isn't it?
I was driving home and I thought, that's me under, isn't it? It's got me Tesco's bag, doesn't it? Right there in the boot.
He had a Greg's wrapper in it. It smelled like sausage. It's like, but yeah, every British person's car smells like sausages.
You'd be hard pressed to find a British person's car without a Tesco's bag holding.
That's what I'm saying.
Or whatever.
It's like every British dude has like eats the same horrible things and watches footy, and
Here's the thing too. If they had cleaned it top to bottom, like done a detail job on it, and there was not a single
they didn't even take out the
scrap
wrappers
of anything, then I go, okay, you know what? Like they make a lot of Hondas. Like it's a country with a huge population. It's a good chance that it's a different car, right? Mm-hmm. But like it had his garbage in it, his specific garbage. That's. Send that dude to fight the gorilla, man, because we don't need him.
Speaking of British people, my Man U got a big W today in the Europa League. Shout out, glory, Man U.
What a story!
From London.
Another dumb thing somebody did. This is my running theme here today is just dumb people doing dumb things, obviously. Sure. An upset teen made fake bomb threat at a girlfriend's cruise because he was left to pet sit for her. A Michigan teenager was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison on Monday, more than a year after he made a bomb threat to a cruise ship that his girlfriend was on board because he was upset with her and her family. Joshua Lowe, 19, admitted to federal agents that he sent the email to Carnival Cruise Lines in January 2024, which had caused the ship to divert its course to Jamaica and direct its crew to search all over the massive vessel for a bomb, according to a sentencing memorandum obtained by Huffington Post. Hey, I think someone might have a bomb on your Sunrise cruise ship, Lowe's email read. Carnival investigators and FBI agents traced the email address back to Lowe, who was living with his girlfriend's family at the time. He was living with them? That's crazy.
Dude.
Like, it's one thing to be such a shithead that you're doing that in the first place, but if you are living at their house and you're mad that they went on a cruise and you had to watch the dog at the house you live in, you didn't have to drive anywhere. It was just there.
Yeah.
it says a bit more about him too. The fact that they didn't want that motherfucker on the cruise with them.
Yeah, like you stay home with
They're
the
like, no,
dog.
you ain't
Take care of the
coming,
dog.
dude. Someone's got to
Someone had to
stay
take care
here
of
and
the
be the
dog, dude.
lookout. That's the most important job of all.
Jose TV1 says 100% agree. I don't know with what. I'm assuming just everything we're saying.
All of it, probably. We're on one.
Everything. Hell yeah! Shout out to Jose. I love that he got left behind at the family house.
Dude, that's so funny.
It was like Lowe admitted he sent a message because he was upset that the family went on the cruise while leaving him behind, prosecutors wrote. Lowe would attempt to recant his confession, but eventually pleaded guilty to a felony charge of false information and hoaxes, according to the memorandum. He apologized to the judge and investigating agents who worked on the case in a letter dated earlier this month, saying, "This is all my fault, and I take full responsibility. I want you to know that after this, I have learned how to be more responsible and learn from my mistakes," Lowe wrote. In a separate letter to the judge, Lowe's mother also pleaded for mercy on her son's sentencing, stating, "I do not know what led my son to make this poor choice or why he never thought the consequences of his action before he did anything." I know why. I have a good
They home aloned him on purpose, dude. They didn't want him there. He's what the French call les incompetents. They were like, "You're not coming, dude." That's crazy.
My hope for him is to learn from his mistakes. We will all make them, and the key is we're not all making that mistake.
Yeah,
that's a nutty ass mistake to make.
You just house sat for 2 people recently.
Yeah,
separate occasions.
Yeah,
0 bomb threat.
No, not one. I trust me, there were opportunities, and I don't think I did not think about it. My hope for him is to learn from his mistakes. He is to learn from them and move forward, leaving the past behind and going into the future as a better person. However, prosecutors argued in their memorandum that low sentencing should send a strong deterrent message, even if no one was physically injured from the threat. It is not hard, however, to imagine a scenario where the victim is trampled or suffers a heart attack during a chaotic evacuation or some other harm ensues, prosecutors wrote.
Yeah, a bomb threat, you need to be prosecuted for that. You can't just be like,
he was bad, you know? Yeah, he's just a boy. What was he, 19, it said?
Yeah, it's just a boy doing a bomb
19.
threat. Yeah, you gotta prosecute bomb threats. Sorry.
People make mistakes.
He's doing what was it, 8 years in a federal prison now?
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
That sucks, dude.
It sucks.
It does suck.
He really
Jeez.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna be in his that's such an important time in your life, you know, to when you're establishing yourself as an adult. And you know, oh man, what a shitty fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
I wonder what he was hoping would happen. They'd be like, "Well, we gotta turn around and come home."
Yeah, it's a great point. like either way, you have to watch the dog or a cat or whatever. I hope it's a dog, not just a cat. But you're still stuck there.
Yeah,
if you can't pet sit a cat, you're worthless. You're a worthless person.
Yeah.
Cats are the easiest pets to house sit. They don't even want you around.
No.
Dude,
I'm pissed that we have to.
3 comments on this article are so funny. It says, "My guess is that he's no longer the quote boyfriend. At least he shouldn't be." Yeah, I would think spending 8 years in prison, he will be somebody else's boyfriend, though.
That's the least of his problem.
You think his 19-year-old girlfriend is gonna? I'll wait for you. No.
They do the fucking what's it? The pickpocket fucking putting their hand on the glass.
No, squirrel master.
This other person says, "It seems that he did not appreciate being treated like a dog. He was having a dog's day afternoon. Trump 2028."
Wow.
Weird, dude. And then this last person says, "Now we see why no one wanted you to come along."
I bet the parents are fucking so thrilled that little shit's out of their house now, though.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta be
worth it.
If he did that, he must have been a nightmare to work with. I mean, to live with.
Oh yeah.
Dishes everywhere, leaving his fucking dirty underwear on the floor.
Yeah.
Just gaming
Playing video
nonstop.
games all day.
Yeah.
Gaming.
Yeah. Well, I can't get a job yet because, I'm one of those guys.
Just reeks of Funyuns.
Because I'm gonna finish my GED.
Huh? I told you I'm developing a game. This is research, and you're getting in the way of my dreams. I'm gonna make a game about a fucking guy who, is like the biggest badass ever. And when his girlfriend goes on a cruise and leaves without him, guess what he does? He takes action. That's my game. And you'll see about my game one day.
Dude, your game is just Speed 2, Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
Those parents are lucky that kid did knock up their daughter.
Well, we'll see what happens in 8 months.
The game, Dynasty Warriors Infanticide. Absolutely.
Man.
When I had that conversation with my buddy Carlos the first time, we were at like a Walmart and we were like in line checking out, and we were just like, we hadn't seen each other in a while. So we were like very like, dude, like imagine, and we we're just like going off and like, so like you have baby guts all over your fucking feet, and like we're just really debating how many babies that you'd be able to destroy.
I'm not down with the killing babies humor. I don't think that's
It was crazy. It was wild. But
what is Dynasty Warriors? I've never played that. Is that
Dynasty Warriors? That was a fun ass game.
Was it like for like Sega or something, or
no, like PlayStation, Dreamcast?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, but we were saying that stuff at the Walmart, and then we both like oh shit, we shouldn't be talking about this right now. Let's stop talking about this. Like, oh, just like we're among people. Different kid I got here to talk about. This one isn't a dumb person. An 8th grader aims to solve the problem of scavenging squirrels, raccoons at Merritt Island Park. Merritt Island's Rotary Park is having a big problem with squirrels, raccoons, and other wild creatures getting into the trash bins, foraging for food, and leaving a mess on the park grounds with the waste they took out of the bins. So, 14-year-old Xavier Salaka of Melbourne decided to seek a solution and made his project as part of a process for him becoming the Eagle Scout through Scouting America, a process that includes leading a service project. He is building a protective enclosure for the trash bins, helping to protect wildlife and keep the parks clean. The animals were ruining their diet with all the trash they got into, said Salaka, the 8th grader, at John F. Kennedy Middle School in Rockledge. It's just very unhealthy for them, and they scatter trash around the park, making it unpleasant for visitors. Kate Wells, an environmental program supervisor for Rotary Park Nature Center, said the problem is so bad that our animals that get into the garbage are actually more of a litter causers than the public. I love how these people care about the litter and he cares about the animals. This kid's got a kind soul. Here, I'll show you.
I think they might be mistaken. I think that it's probably the people. Like I go to a park every day that has a dozen squirrels everywhere you look, and trash cans, and the people the beings making all the fucking mess is the people. 100%. Literally taking the lids off the trash cans just to do it. Like there's one guy who goes through and just takes the lid off and like searches for cans and stuff and then doesn't put it back. He'll do it when it's raining out.
Look at the squirrel though.
Confetti and silly string all over the place.
That squirrel
he does look guilty. I will say that squirrel.
Yeah, that squirrel looks like he's a piece of shit. And the boy is looking at him like, I'm gonna save this guy from himself.
I've got a bunch of squirrels in my neighborhood. They're super chill.
There's a ton of squirrels at the golf course that I walk by, like almost like too many.
The ones here are very brave because they're not scared of the dogs or anything. It's just like a neighborhood, so they're like, yeah, these dogs ain't getting us. So they're just like, we'll just chirp at the dogs and taunt them from like a safe
distance. Dude, the squirrels and the crows are both like, what?
Yeah, can't do nothing.
Squirrels are menaces, and that's what so it's actually surprising that you guys don't believe they would litter.
There's one squirrel in my neighborhood that doesn't have a tail.
Whoa.
And it just goes mobbing around like.
It's one way to get noticed.
Yeah.
You just got to be different from the rest of the people.
The squirrel's got that dog in him, dude.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors' houses, they have this little installation on their fence that has a little container full of dog treats, and there's like a screw on top to it, and it's just sitting on their gate all the time. And the squirrels have figured out a way to open it. So like I'll be walking like around the corner, and I'll just see some squirrel like unscrewing this thing, and they'll look at me like, "Oh shit, you caught me!" and just like take off. Like you're not supposed to know I can do this. Like
that's awesome.
Look at how many patches this boy has. Dude, he must be like a fucking beast Boy Scout.
Dude, he's sashed up, dude. Look at him.
No.
That's sick. I feel like if you were a Boy Scout, like first of all, I would hate to be a Boy Scout. It just seems like a lot of unnecessary work.
Be right back. Sorry.
But if you were a Boy Scout and you had like 5 or like, I feel like this is too many badges. But if you only had like 2 or 3, I'm looking at you funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you must be incompetent because like half of these badges were useless ass shit. Like
I mean, you gotta have at least 9.
Fire one. Okay, so did I.
Yeah. They can have like 9 badges, maybe 12 badges. You know.
There's an optimal amount. This kid might be overdoing it. Let's see how many. Let's see. 1, 3, 6, 9, 12. I feel like 12 is a good amount, but 15 is like probably the sweet spot. You want like this many. All this extra shit right here, he's doing too much.
He's got 30.
He's showboating. He's trying to show everybody that he's that guy.
Yeah, he's got 30 of them. That's crazy.
Now he's just chasing around squirrels, trying to fucking clear up garbage cans. Let's see.
I was never. My parents never put me into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there was no way my parents like. It cost money, so like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it anyways, but I also wouldn't want to like. It just seems like dumb.
Oh, this is in Florida, Brevard County.
Yeah, currently the blue trash bins at the park, which is part of Brevard County's park systems, have no covering, so the trash is open to elements and to marauding critters. Marauding is crazy. To solve the problem, so lock it. Go ahead.
They said you don't have lids. Like there's the.
Yeah, but like most trash cans don't have lids in parks.
I mean, if you have like wildlife around, you have lids on it because you don't want them getting into it. You know, like around here.
I live by a park with squirrels. They don't have lids on them. They're just there.
Yeah, we got lids.
To solve the problem, Solaka designed a system under which there would be a concrete base at the location where each trash receptacle will be located. On top of the concrete base would be a wooden box enclosure with a cover that is resistant to animals prying it open. Trash bins will be placed inside the wooden boxes. Solaka said his project has a number of goals, including to protect wildlife, reduce litter, preserve the environment, enhance visitor safety, improve maintenance efficiency. Solaka estimates the total cost of the project at $4,500, which would cover the cost of 8 bin enclosures and bases. The costs include construction materials like lumber, hinges, bins, and screws, other supplies, tool rentals such as for concrete mixers and augers. The GoFundMe for the drive for the project is underway and they have a link to the GoFundMe. Let's see if he accomplished his goal. Let's see if he did it. If he got his trash squirrel money.
I think he did it.
I don't think he did actually.
Oh no, it's a failure.
He raised $1,020. He's only 23% of the way there.
Oh,
that's sad. He's not going to live his dream of making boxes for trash cans. They have pictures of like little pieces of garbage next to the trash can, like not enough to even really give a shit, honestly, if I'm being real. Introduction. Hi, my name is Steven Solaka, and I'm the proud parent of Xavier Solaka, who's working on his Eagle Scout project, a pivotal step towards achieving the highest rank in Boy Scouts. It's a vanity project. This kid just doing it for the clout, dude. He knows that people like us are going to talk about what his endeavors, and they're just going to back him for this bullshit. This is crazy.
It's not getting any of my money. I'll tell you that much.
Look at. I'm gonna present you his evidence of why he needs $4,000. Pictures of existing cans. Now, that is a photo of a single cup, a single bottle, and a wrapper just outside the garbage can. You know, we have a solution for that. You just pick it up and put it back in. It's not that hard. And then on this one, I don't even know what the point of this photo is. Is this like an orange peel hanging out the bottom of the can?
Like
it doesn't seem like a problem.
Is it cracked or something? Does it need to be replaced? Is that the point? It's like
yeah, but if it's not even doing if the hole is so minor that not even a full orange can get through it, how big of a problem is it? You know what I mean?
Maybe it's a sign of degeneration, and you just need to get a new can. Get a can with a lid, and it just solves your problem. You don't even need to, do all this. It's clear.
I want to thank David Berman and Malcolm Denemark for reporting on this issue in the Florida Today newspaper and getting word out to a wider audience. So far, we've got funding for 2 of the 8 trash bins, so need a bit more funds and materials to get us over the edge. Every little bit helps, as anything we have after the project goes right back into the park.
That's good.
I don't think you're making all your trash money back, boy. I think we're going to be stuck at 2.
Dang.
Oh, here we go. We were out at the park today talking to Florida Today to help try to get the word out and possibly getting a few more donations. While Xavier did guard duty and chased away one of the worst trash offenders in the park. Wait, he doesn't even like the squirrels. He's chasing them away? Oh my god. This kid's a dickhead.
It sounds like a menace, to be honest.
Look at that's the squirrel's part. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's staring down that squirrel. Like, I can fuck you up, dude. Who's worse, this kid or the bomb threat kid?
Still got to be the bomb threat kid.
It's 2 different kinds of kids. The bomb threat kid, though, sounds like he's at least having a good time. He's chilling. He's chilling so hard, he can't even deal with the most minor inconvenience. Whereas this kid is a proto-fascist.
Wow, dude. I left when it was like, look at him. He's killing it. Look at all his badges. And I come back and he's a fascist.
Yeah, we're out on this kid.
Yeah, we're out on him.
Profile, we're out. Don't like him.
He's a menace.
Speaking of menaces, you guys know what a nutria is?
Yeah, we have a ton of them where I grew up.
That's right. I figured that would say that because I looked it up and I saw that it was like a Pacific Northwest thing, right?
It's funny because I grew up. They look like beavers with rat tails and orange teeth.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
I grew up Pokemon, dude.
Yeah, I grew up in Beaverton, Oregon, but we had hella nutrias out there. It should have been called Nutria.
Hey, why do they have orange teeth? Do you know? That's weird.
No idea.
I wonder what the what other animal has orange teeth or even like a different color teeth?
That's a good point. Damn, dude.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is urging Americans to fill their bellies with an invasive species that are wreaking havoc on habitants across the country. As part of its national invasive species. What's that?
Trying to get people to eat these things?
That's right, yeah. As part of the National Invasive Species Awareness Week, which ends Friday, the agency released a list of 5 invasive creatures that are encouraging people to hunt and eat as a way to protect the native species. Some of the biggest ecological nightmares are critters that do not belong here, the USFWS wrote in a public advisory released last week. Invasive species outcompete native wildlife, destroy habitats, and mess up ecosystems, but rather than complaining about them, let's put them on the menu. At the top of the list is the nutria, a large water-loving rodent that resembles a beaver without the trademark flat tail. Nutria are native to the swamps of South America. They were brought to the U.S. by fur traders in the 1930s, and many were released into the wild after the market for nutria fur dried up. Since then, nutria have been a menace to marshlands in several regions of the country, particularly along the Gulf Coast, but also in the Atlantic Coast and the Pacific Northwest and parts of California. And there's a map here of where the nutria roam. That's why I saw this. That's how I knew that you probably knew about these.
Check they used to be all posted up at the right near the transit center where I grew up.
Wait, I'm on the wrong one. Check it out. Look at the concentration of nutria where you live.
Wow, dude. Proliferate.
There's some around where I live too, but like a little south of me. I didn't know that. They've really running your shit though up there.
Yeah. Damn, dude.
This is the list of the animals to eat. The nutria. There he goes with his orange teeth. The northern snakehead. Look at that little fish. It's got a snake head.
I guess nutrias like don't really have any natural predators out here. Like they're pretty big, you know, and there's just
until now.
Yeah,
put maybe on a brunch menu. Put the nutria on a brunch menu, and Portlanders will be eating this shit up like crazy. Dude.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of vegans and vegetarians out here.
True. The green iguana. You can eat a green iguana.
Oh yeah.
Iguana stew. Their meat is often called the chicken of the trees for its mild flavor. Oh.
Yeah, they eat iguanas down where I'm from.
The silver carp. Feral hogs or wild boar. That sounds good. If you had to eat these animals, which in the order of like most desirable to least desirable, which were you going with?
Probably that trout first, because I've had or carp. Is that whatever? What was that fish? That one.
The carp, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Probably that one first, because I think I've had carp before, so.
Yeah, get some fish and chips, you know.
Yeah, and then probably the iguana, because I've had iguana before.
This snakehead, I bet is good. I would love to, you know, if I still ate red meat, I would eat one of these feral hogs. You know, I bet it's delicious. It's got a richer flavor than store-bought pork.
I can't imagine eating one of those nutrias. They just look like little, like, I don't know, beavers or something. Like it's too cute.
It says this says try nutria gumbo. The meat is lean, mild, and tastes like rabbit. There you go. You don't like rabbit?
No, I've had it before. I didn't like it. It's too gamey.
This says nutria are a perfect example of how introduction of an invasive species can throw off the delicate balance that has developed inside vulnerable ecosystems over centuries of evolution. They are voracious herbivores that can consume up to a quarter of their body weight in a single day. They eat so much that they can devastate the local plant species that keep the marshlands stable. Their nonstop munching and burrowing destroy the plants that keep the marshes stable, leading to erosion, loss of habitat, and wetlands that look something out of a disaster movie, the USFWS wrote in a Facebook post. Along with the federal government, at least 5 states have launched nutria eradication programs over the past 25 years that have significantly reduced the damage these creatures cause. In the year 2000, the nutria were estimated to be destroying 100,000 acres of Louisiana wetlands per year. Damn, we're going hard, dude. Shout out to the nutria. If they're destroying Louisiana, I'm kind of in favor. Shithole state. Last year, the figure had dropped to just 5,500 acres a year. That's still a lot. They're still putting in work down there. Government conservationists are hoping that the appeal of tasty meat might encourage local hunters to support their anti-nutria campaign. The USFWS describes nutria meat as lean, mild, right, similar to rabbit or the dark meat of a turkey. A cookbook published in 1963 lists nearly 24 nutria recipes, including chicken fried nutria, macaroni nutria casserole. The state of Louisiana has even shared a recipe for smoked nutria and andouille sausage gumbo. The U.S. Department of Agriculture recognizes more than 200 invasive species that exist through the country. The list includes land animals, sea creatures, bugs, plants, and even viruses. But most of them are unappealing to eat. I'm going to look up why nutria have orange teeth.
Viruses. We got a virus cookbook.
Cook up them viruses.
Make a nice slaw out of this fucking.
It says they have normal teeth due to the presence of iron in their tooth enamel. The rodents, such as nutria, have continuously growing incisor teeth that are constantly being worn down by gnawing. The enamel of their teeth contains a high concentration of iron, which oxidizes and gives their teeth a distinct orange color. The iron-rich enamel helps strengthen their teeth, making them suitable for their gnawing habits. That's crazy.
Because they're grinding all their life.
Teeth
like
are so
do.
sick. Wait, this study from last year finds that the iron-rich enamel protects but doesn't color the rodent's orange-brown incisors. So then what does? See, this is why I like some scientists that are working on the important issues of the day.
All I know is you can eat it. So that's all I need to hear. I'm going to go see Ibrahim stock up on nutrient meat.
Yeah, we have a lot of like wetland type of stuff out here, and that's where you find them, is like in these kind of like little marshy wetland areas.
The swamps of Portland.
Just be chilling next to the transit center behind the Ross Dress for Less.
Rockport residents have a history of fighting off invaders, but not this time. During the War of 1812, the townsfolk in a tiny fishing village hurled rocks at British soldiers using their stockings as slings. Now, they're slinging trash bags and towels over the sides of mirrors of their cars to protect them from a destructive and determined pileated woodpecker. Over the past few weeks, the bird has broken more than 24 mirrors. What's that?
Pecker.
The bird has broken 24 mirrors and at least one vehicle's side window, but residents are taking the violence in stride. Everybody's having a good laugh about it, said Ben Favaloro. Nobody wants to harm the bird. He's always welcome back. Is that how you would be if a bird was in your neighborhood breaking everybody's fucking rear view mirrors? Or not rear view, just their side mirrors? I would not be like, live and let live. I'd be like, yo, bird doesn't need to be here.
A British man, 36, bought his own mirror back from the bird. Like, hey, you want to buy this mirror?
Favaloro, who has lived in the neighborhood for nearly 4 decades, said he's seen the occasional woodpecker on the side of houses in years past, and he removed several trees last summer that were damaged beyond recovery. But the hacking of glass is a new phenomenon. This woodpecker is out of control, dude. He already destroyed several trees, and now he's just like fucking up cars now. What's next? He's a habitual line stepper, dude.
Yeah.
That is wild. I mean, because like they peck to like build, like hollow out an area to build like a nest or a home, right? So like, what do they think is going to happen with a mirror? Like, they clearly know it's not a tree, like, just, you know, from animal instinct, I would imagine.
He's just a dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Birds are dickheads, man. I don't like birds.
There are crows out here that will like dive bomb people, like near certain nesting areas of theirs and stuff. Like I knew somebody who worked at this community center that had all these big trees out in front of it, and people would be bringing their kids in for classes and whatever, and the crows would just be dive bombing, like specifically just the kids for some reason. And people would come in and complain, like, you guys got these crows out there, and they're like, they're like a protected species or something. Like, we can't, you know, we have no authority over them. Like,
that's what BB guns are for, you know.
I think it was because they were nesting and they saw the kids as threats for some reason. But
yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm always around here, like I'm outside with Dory. She's a little dog, and the crows are always circling overhead. I'm like, I know they would never try to attack her, but they're probably talking about it.
Dude, a friend of mine once, I told him that Rocky got a crow in our yard, and he was like genuinely worried that the crows were going to have a vendetta against him. And I was like, dude, right? I was like, yeah, but I don't think, like, I think the crow was already like injured or something, and that's why he was able to get it, because he chases them all the time, and they're just always like, fuck you,
A crow doesn't stop till it gets its vengeance. We've seen the movies. We know it's
yeah. But I'm always kind to them, so I hope it like balances out. And like they see me and they're like, oh, he's a friend to the crows. We shall grant his son passage.
I never fuck with crows. I don't know what the difference between a crow and a raven is.
Size, their beaks are a bit different, and then they have like a different number of feathers, like on the end of their wings.
Okay. They both have evil energy, though.
For sure.
I love crows, though. They're so smart.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I'm good with the
crows. They're fucking about it, too, man. I used to live like on this hillside where there were a bunch of like turkey vultures that would like, fly around and shit. And I would routinely see crows chasing the turkey vultures out of their airspace, dude. They don't, the vultures are just like, all right, man, fuck, I'm leaving, dude.
It says, initially, we just noticed that all the mirrors had been adjusted. It looked like maybe there's a child in the neighborhood that was going around pushing the mirrors down, he said. But his sister-in-law spotted a roughly 21-inch tall woodpecker.
Wow.
On the Avalaro's truck.
Dude, that's half a gorilla. In height.
Pecking the inside mirror. Or pecking the side. Did I cut out?
Yeah, you cut out pretty bad.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now
there you are.
Okay.
That whole bit was lost.
What did you guys last hear? I don't know how long it dropped.
We got the height of it, and I said that's half a gorilla, and then
21 inches seems like pretty fucking tall for a bird.
Yeah, that's almost 2 feet. Yeah.
When you say woodpecker, I imagine it being like a small little guy.
Yeah.
If you're telling me there's like a 2 foot tall woodpecker, yeah, like I'm no longer like having a conversation of like, we're sharing this neighborhood. Stop fucking up my shit. I'm killing you. I'm eating you. You're an invasive species.
Exactly.
I'm not going the route of the Boy Scout.
These taste like chicken.
Yeah.
What was the kind of woodpecker again? What's the brand
it says,
name?
Given their enormous size, pileated woodpeckers are plenty strong enough to break mirrors. But such behavior is definitely weird, said Pamela Hunt, senior biologist for avian conservation at the New Hampshire Audubon. Lots of birds will be aggressive against reflections in mirrors, but I don't usually hear about woodpeckers. They don't usually peck at their opponents. They kind of just chase them around. She said the woodpecker might be a quote a little stupid and is trying to defend its territory.
Wait. It's not. It might be brave. What are you talking about? Stupid.
It just says it might be dumb, dude.
He's big, man. He probably doesn't have very many threats,
That bird is trying to alpha out on other birds, but it doesn't realize it's the only bird there.
Yeah. It's probably used to being like the biggest bird and, never had any fucking bullies. So it just walks around thinking it's, hot shit.
The damage coincides with the mating season for pileated woodpeckers, and resident Barbara Smith said she'd be fine with lots of little woodpeckers around, though she hopes they won't be as destructive. Woodpeckers have to do it. What's that?
Trying to impress a girl. That's what it is. Hey, want to see me break this mirror?
Woodpeckers have to do what woodpeckers do, she said. Good luck, woodpecker. Dude, these people are too nice. If they talk to me, I'll be like, yo, if that woodpecker tries to fuck with my mirror, we have a problem. Local hostile man says, the small town of Rockport that I live in is one of the safest communities around, he said. I think this is
I'll be
probably
right
one of
back.
the
There's
biggest
somebody at my door.
crimes in years. What? Oh, I guess he said he'll be right back. It's kind of funny, but it's nice as well.
Nice for who?
Thing. Dude, this bird is big as shit, though. Like, hold on, I'm gonna share you what it looks like.
I was just looking at some pictures. Yeah, they are pretty large. They're like a little bigger than a pigeon, I guess, in the pictures I saw. I don't know where this 2 foot height is coming from.
This is a 2 foot monster here.
Yeah, see, but I saw pictures of people holding them, and they're like not that big. So I wonder if maybe they're talking all the way from like beak to tail or something, like.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy ass bird.
Either way, amazing amount of disrespect.
Yeah. Well, that was all my stories about pests. I did see this article right now on the side of one of my other ones, which is cracking me up. It says Kohl's fires new CEO Ashley Buchanan for steering business to former romantic partner. Kohl's canned its newly hired chief executive after investigation showed that he had cut a highly unusual business deal with a woman who had been his romantic partner, according to a report. Ashley Buchanan was hired to lead a department store chain just 4 months ago, directed Kohl's to engage in vendor transactions that involved undisclosed conflicts of interest, the company said Thursday. Specifically, the conflicts involved Buchanan's relationship with Chandra Holt, a former colleague at Walmart. According to the company filing, it didn't specifically name Holt. The vendor signed a multi-million-dollar consulting agreement with Kohl's with unusually favorable terms. Holt is the founder and CEO of Incredibrew, a coffee brand infused with vitamins and minerals, according to your LinkedIn profile. That's crazy. Imagine you're getting a job as the CEO of a company and you get fired after 100 days for like this. It's like,
yeah, if only our country was run that way.
Yeah.
Shout out for putting their people on, though.
Anyways.
She said, when I eat, we all eat.
No, actually, Ashley was a guy. That's how you know you couldn't trust him. He had one of those names where it's like a man named Ashley. Is like I've never felt like they haven't been trying to trick me, scam me. Oh, that's all my news stories.
My favorite one was the cruise ship one. No, actually, I think the guy buying his own car.
I like the influencer one.
Ibrahim, we talked a little bit about it, or Tony brought it up a bit, but did you see any of the stuff about Ethan Klein versus Sam Cedar, their debate?
I thought it already happened.
Well, it happened.
That was Tim Pool, wasn't it?
Tim Pool and Sam Cedar, they had a debate like a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was confusing it with. So, no, I haven't. I just know that it happened because I saw you guys talking about it earlier in the Discord.
Yeah. So like, it was. So Ethan, he has been having these like real Zionist points of view, but like that's not weird, right? Like there are just Zionists and like we don't agree with them. But what's really annoying about Ethan Klein is that he's insisting that he's pro-Palestine when he is not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be a Zionist, like just be a Zionist. Just be that, But trying to have it both ways, it's like it proved in this conversation because like when he was talking to Hassan about this like 2 years ago, he told him, like Hassan was telling him about this, and Ethan was saying, well, you don't understand because you're not Jewish. You couldn't understand the Jewish perspective. And so Hassan said, fine, talk to some Jewish people, Like here, I have some Jewish people that I can put you in touch with, so he can give you the point of view that I have, that isn't just like a anti-Semitic point of view, right? But then Ethan was going like, well, that's anti-Semitic to say that I should talk to a Jewish person. And it's like, no, it's not. It's based on you saying that he couldn't understand your point of view. So anyways, Sam Cedar is a guy who Ethan claims to respect. They had a conversation yesterday, but it seemed like one of those things where he said he would talk to Sam and then he would talk to Hassan, right? Because he's going to talk to Hassan tomorrow, which should be a big shit show. But it clearly went to this conversation with an agenda to get Sam to agree with some of his takes. That way he could go to Hassan and see, oh, I talked to this guy and he agrees with me, you know? So like the whole time he's just saying this vile shit. Like, and I don't think Ethan is smart enough to realize how dumb he sounded and how like really like reprehensible he sounded. Like he was saying things like, you know, like the genocide that Israel is doing was inevitable. Like it was always going to happen that way. So that's why any sort of like armed resistance or any really resistance at all, because, you know, it's Israel, like any resistance at all is going to be like, is going to eventually lead to the more mass death to these people, but that shouldn't be. You know what I mean? If that's like, just shows how fucked up the state of Israel is, if that's what they believe. But it was an interesting conversation, but I was surprised by how it kind of broke through the mainstream of like, my brother messaged me about it. And he was like, oh, do you see this? It's fucking crazy. Like Ethan Klein got destroyed. And I was like, damn, yeah, he did.
I'm glad that's the takeaway you got from it.
Yeah, my brother, he's a big Hasanabi head, but
Gotcha.
He I talked to him recently and he said he hasn't been following a lot of that shit too much. Like he's been sort of out of it. He liked Hassan when Hassan would do like talk about like pop culture shit, you know? And like the news were like a bonus side of it. So like I think he checked out when like he would put on Hassan, and it was like he'd put it on when he was delivering packages for his job. And if it's Hassan covering like heavy shit, he's like, all right, I'm gonna listen to something else right now.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get through the day, deliver these fucking packages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real frustrating scenario, because like Ethan Klein's whole thing was always kind of that he was an idiot, right? And it was just like, look
Right,
at this like fun, lovable idiot. And now he's not fun or lovable anymore. He's just an idiot.
Yeah.
And he's got this like profile that is, I mean, ever dwindling now, but like, you know, he's just somebody, he's an idiot who people are still paying attention to on some level because of what he used to do or used to be or represent or whatever. And now it's just about watching the crash out unfold.
Yeah.
It seems like. And
he's too
tired of people like that
it.
getting attention, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think I agree with you, but I do think that there's like this secondary thing of like you're informing people about the right side of that issue through showing a dumb person like grappling with it in a very bad way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because like no one's gonna watch like, you know, a Ben Shapiro debate and be like, oh yeah, like Ben Shapiro, like, you know what I mean? Like it's not as effective as like having Ethan Klein be like a useful idiot for the cause of the Palestine liberation.
Sure.
Because like, yeah, he is a clown, like you said, like that is his whole role. So like having him just get like fucking owned is like a nice thing. What sucks is, like you said, is like his dwindling profile. Every ounce of like power and clout and platform that he has left, he's doing it to like a very evil cause in a bad way, in like a not even an effective way, you know?
I do hope that a lot of people's takeaway is what you're talking about. Like, oh wow, this guy's so wrong. Like, and you know, how obviously wrong and stupid about it. Like, I hope they're not going like, well, he's just an idiot. That's why he sounds wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I hope they understand like he's inherently wrong and not just wrong because he's stupid.
Yeah, Sophie said that she watched the whole Sam and Ethan video. Shout out. Salt says, I like when Sam pointed out to Ethan that his rhetoric was toxic, that Sam had a family friend who had come to his own bar mitzvah and asked if Sam was anti-Semite. And that was a very good part of the debate where Ethan was like asking Sam about something about like I can't remember the line of it, but like Sam basically like a couple of times he got him really good where like Ethan was trying to lead him to like very badly to like this rhetorical trap. And he was like, is like, you know, you say your dad kind of supports Israel. Like, do you think, you know, and Sam, before he came, like, I used to support Israel. Like, I used to be in favor of Israel until I learned what they were doing when I was like a child or like, you know, a teenager. And then I was like, wait, I can't be in support of this. This is not good. It's an apartheid state, you know? Mm-hmm. But Sam is, I mean, just Sam Cedar in general is just so effective at that kind of thing. It really, like, with all of this crazy, you know, the way the world is, like, Michael Brooks, who used to co-host Majority Report with Sam, like, he had that clip where it's like, this is not a complicated issue. This is a very simple issue, you know? Like, there's a power, like, that's in charge that has control of everything, and then a people who have no control, and they're being completely, like, subjugated. And so when you have to, like, try to equivocate between, like, you know, oh, like both sides, it's like, there's no two sides of this argument. It's an oppressor colonizer state, and like you don't side with them. But like sometimes I wish he was around to have like more clarity like that. But then it's also like shit's so bad. I'm kind of glad that he's not around to see how bad shit has gotten. You know what I mean?
I think about that with my great grandfather. Like I'm glad he's not seeing what's happening. You know, because he was such a good dude, and like, you know. Yeah, just would have been like I have an elderly neighbor, you know, he's like almost 80, and you know, he's a hardcore Democrat now. I don't know that he was ever a Republican, but he told me, he was like, yeah, you know, most people get more conservative as they age, but I'm getting more liberal.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's tight, dude.
What's up? Yeah, I used to optimistically think, like, at some point, like, because younger people are just more, you know, progressive and, you know, have more sort of like liberal values and stuff. Like, at some point, all that old shit is going to die out. But like, it's hard not to look back at, like, you know, the world. Well, like, not even look back, just look around and be like, yeah, that's not true. Old people are continuing to get deranged, and even at like a crazier clip. You know what I mean?
I think every generation thinks that too. You know, like I know I'm sure if I asked my mother, because you know she grew up in the '60s and she was a hippie, and they probably thought like, oh yeah, it's gonna be, you know, the youth is so progressive. You know, we're all hippies, we're all peace, love, and whatever. So you know, by the time we be in charge, it's gonna be wonderful, and then they all ended up being like, you know, the worst of the worst. So
I think also there's something to be said about like when the paradigm shifts on a large scale, like I mean, things have become more progressive in general, and now there's like those growing pains, or those chickens are coming home to roost, in the sense of like, you know, there's that what they call an extinction burst, where like when a species is about to go extinct or whatever, it like fights even harder for survival. And so I think there is that aspect of it too, where like hopefully the tide is still moving in that direction, and this, what we're seeing, is just the extinction burst, you know?
Yeah.
Hope so.
I like to think that. I think there's some truth to that. I think that there's like an unsustainable right-wing shift. It's unsustainable because whenever people are confronted with the realities of what they want to do with this shit, they're like, oh, I don't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like sometimes their own bad ideas are enough to kill them, but the problem is it also kills us.
Right. Yeah, who does it take with it? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, like, you know, when I see that like young men are becoming more right wing, and they're like weirdly into church again and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like, God, I just can't. it's so hard for me to imagine being a young guy who like thinks that, that thinks it's like the cool thing to be conservative, because when I was young, was the lamest shit you could do was be a Republican.
Yeah, totally. Same here, we thought Gen X, we thought we were going to be the ones, now look, they're the ones all voting for Trump. So
yeah.
I was walking Dory. It's kind of related to that. I was walking Dory today, and in my neighborhood, and as I was walking her, and she's smelling, I'm just like kind of staring off into nothing. A school bus pulls up and to let off these kids, and this little boy gets off, this big goofy little boy, and runs up and runs behind a tree to hide, apparently in an effort to like surprise these two little girls that are coming off the school bus. And I see the little girls get off the school bus, and they see the little boy immediately, and they point, and they're saying something to him, and he looks at them, and he just lets loose like the most bitch-made screech I've ever heard in my life. Like, and it was like, in my mind, I thought like, and yeah, the fucking men are not okay, like these little boys are not coming up right.
Because they were scared?
No, he wasn't scared. He was upset that he couldn't scare them. Like they pointed at him and were laughing at him for trying to scare them. And instead of being like, "Oh, you got me," yeah, he just went, "Ah!" Like he had a tantrum because they caught him.
He'll show them by getting a trad wife one day.
Yeah, I bet that kid plays Fortnite or something.
A friend of mine sent me this video about, it was like this woman she dated conservative men for like a full year.
Oh, Did you see that?
Yeah, and she was just talking about how like they act like they're liberal, their friends are liberal, that everything they do is like amongst liberal people and stuff, and then they go to these like creepy little meetings where it's all about like complaining about their significant others and trad wives, and and she's just saying how they're all deeply insecure with themselves, and they're just like finding refuge amongst other fucking losers, basically. And it's scary shit, man. Like, but it's so true. It's like they have no sense of self and no actual real identity, which is why they don't stand on their business during the day. You know what I mean? It's only in their secret little groups and shit that they start showing who they really are.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I mean, not to sound I don't know, arrogant or egotistical or whatever, but like couldn't be me, dude. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know what that's like. I feel very lucky that I'm pretty sure of myself, and like that also happens to align with like the correct morals and fucking just social views of somebody who cares about other people.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I remember like I was shocked when like Bush won, and I was so pissed, At like the second time, it was like 2004, and I had friends that were like happy about it, and at first I thought they were kidding. You know what I mean? Oh fuck, Bush won! Like, oh yeah, fucking Bush won, hell yeah! And I'm like, yeah. Wait, like you're serious? And I was like, oh, these dudes are all like Christians. They're all like fucking weirdos and shit,
Mm-hmm.
And then like as I like it opened the fucking like it took off the blinders of like, oh, you're right, like most of these people around me, it was like a small town, rural community, rural-ish, Manteca. Like, all right, most people are fucking assholes over here. Oh, that's crazy. But so like, yeah, I think you're right. Like that is like a definite aspect of it, is just like there are people who don't have any self-worth and shit, so they find it in other places like religion, and now conservatism has like sort of like if it's like taken the aspect of the way they reach people through religion and just mixed it over to like just broad general culture shit of like country music and like sports and all this shit, which is like how Joe Rogan became so popular,
Yeah, they're also, I think, just deeply unhappy and like unsure of what to do with themselves, like I know this one guy who he's more of like a libertarian type, I think, like the Ron Swanson type of bullshit from Parks and Rec, but like like he's a smart enough guy to like understand when something is stupid, like a policy or, you know, like the tariffs or whatever. But he also like doesn't want to be, he seemingly doesn't want to be one of those people who also looks like he is like sensitive enough to care about like social justice or shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's this weird kind of thing. And like, he just really perpetually wishes it was 1998 again.
Yeah.
Like that's like, he lives in that space of being like an 8th or 9th grader when everything was easy and video games were cool. And, you know, you were playing Mortal Kombat with your friends and shit. And like, I miss that shit too, but like, we can't go back, dude, you know, like, and you can relive some of that stuff in your downtime, but like, it's not productive or realistic to just like be in this like regressive mindset all the time and just be mad about it. Because that's, I think, ultimately what it comes down to is a lot of people are just mad that shit isn't easier. And they think it would be easier if everybody just conformed to what they want it to be like. And so they just are drafted into these very simple ways of thinking because it's the path of least resistance. It's the shortest point between two lines, or the shortest line between 2 points, you know?
Well, it's like, you know, material interests and the way like society is built with patriarchy is like tells people you to be a man, to fulfill your role as a man, to have self-worth, you have to make this much money, have a family, have a car, have a house, all these things, like real tangible things that you have to acquire to become valuable, to have self-worth. But the world that we live in now is becoming increasingly more impossible for anybody to do that, you know, like just income inequality.
And it's by the design of the people who are like grifting them into voting for them, right? And it's they see how easily manipulated these people are, who are just desperate and like want to feel like they're achieving what they're supposed to based on the formula that these people have laid out for them. And so they tell them, oh, here's how you do it. Listen to us, because we're the ones who make the rules. And you can be one of the people who makes the rules too. That's your divine right as a man.
Right.
You know, and instead of like just knowing who they are inherently or like having confidence in the path that they're walking, they look for this, you know, this guiding hand from above, and they just get fucking corralled into a stupid, you know, area.
Right. I mean, that's,
man.
It is so frustrating because, like I said, like it's not like watching it from the outside. Because, like I said, like I don't feel any need. And the thing is, like, weird too, because I love football, I love MMA, you know, I love all of these things that like you could see it so clearly of how they're using it to manipulate people into becoming like, to mold people like that. And like again, it's just like when you're outside of when you can see outside of the matrix and shit, you know what I mean? When you've taken the fucking, what pill is it to be
the red pill?
When you've taken the red pill in that way, then you can see how like that all of that is being operated. And the irony of that too is then they say they've taken the red pill. Right? But when you can see how the systems actually work, it's so easy to just like roll your eyes at it, you know?
Yeah, I really think that all those dudes operate from a place of fear, right?
Right.
Like fear of looking too sensitive or feminine, or fear of like, you know, what if I think a trans woman is hot? What does that say about me or something, right? So they just lash out against it in such a way that is like so counterproductive and fucked up, and like, but that's how they have been taught to measure their like I saw a thing shared the other day. I didn't see the root of the article or whatever, but somebody was like saying that men are like shaving or cutting off their eyelashes because it's like, I guess they don't want to be perceived as like feminine or something. Like,
bro, my eyelashes got me laid so much when I was like,
I'm saying, bro, like like having dark long eyelashes, like women have always loved that. You know,
bro. That's
Is it gay to have like a microbe defense built into your fucking face? Like,
that's actually the gayest thing that you can do.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. Like you know,
I think
and like you, I love cars, dude. I'm such a car guy.
right,
Like
yeah,
fucking,
and
there's a
action
lot of
movies
like
and stuff.
traditionally masculine shit that I love, you know, and like I don't know, man. I guess I just feel fortunate that I don't have to measure
Yeah.
that against other stuff. Like I don't care, you know.
I
Yeah.
think the irony is that they want to push this idea of individualism out to people, but that's how they're hurting people together, right? And I
Yeah,
think the end goal for everybody else who isn't like that has to be like, yes, building sort of this communal bond that's sort of like, through labor, through, just like being a good person in a way that people don't make it look like soft, which
yeah.
I always feel like that's like a goal when I talk to like my nephew or whoever. Like I
Same,
can
same. Yeah,
like convey values without being like in a way that people would say, "Oh, he's being a pussy," Like,
right.
no, dude, it's just not cool to be a shithead to somebody who's not like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, because I think like when people have the awareness that together they are powerful, they can do anything. They could fight a gorilla if they're strong enough.
well, and that's ultimately what it is, right? You push the individualism idea so that people don't realize how strong they are as a
Right,
community.
together.
Yeah,
They think they're weak, and you relay that they're weak because they can't take care of themselves.
right.
But if people understand that together you can do anything, then yeah, then they have no power over you. And on that note, let's wrap it up because it's 8:30. Where can they find you guys?
Online, Tony Gregori, Instagram, Blue Sky. I'll be at Muse Comics Free Comic Book Day on Saturday. So anyone who's in Missoula, listen to this beforehand. Come say hi.
Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, and actually, I'm doing something fun on YouTube. I just painted this while we were talking earlier. This is if you recognize this little picture, this is part of the Simpsons living room. So I'm making a little Simpsons diorama that's going up on my YouTube in a couple
Are you
of
making like
days.
realistic soft goods Simpsons?
No, there's that company Jack Specific that makes a lot of like wrestling figures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They put out some Simpsons figures recently that are just like really good and they're like cheap. And I was like, you know what? I need some Simpsons. So but I was like, I need an environment for them to be in. And I've never made anything that's supposed to look cartoony. So it's been kind of a fun little deviation from my normal.
Are you
stuff.
adding like black outlines so that it looks like
No, I thought about that, but the figures don't have that. And I was like, if I do it to like the environment, then I'll have to do it to the figures. Yeah. But what I did do is I actually I've only done it to Homer so far, but I used like a matte finish of Mod Podge, which is like kind of like looks and smells like Elmer's glue, but it's a little runnier. It's like a sealant, and I used a matte one because the figures are kind of shiny and it doesn't look right when they're shiny because they should be like flat, So yeah, I got the little living room, made a little TV and stuff, and little lamps and all that. So I'm excited to put that video up.
Oh yeah.
You can find me all the normal places, but like Tony, I'm going to be somewhere for Comic Book Day with Justin Greenwood. We're going down to Red Sky Comics in Merced, which is exciting. I haven't seen Justin in a minute. It's going to be fun to hang out with him and everybody else. So,
yeah.
Hope you all had a good week. Thank you for sticking with us. And, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Talk to you guys later. End stream.